Not long after I wrote my Alt-Tab key, I found an opportunity to use AutoHotkey at the print shop where I worked part-time. Every time we finished an order and went to print an invoice, it would default to a single-sided color print. I wrote a hotkey that would instantly switch to printing black and white, double-sided, which saved the company roughly 30 cents per page. That might not seem like much, but in the time that I was at the company, they printed over 5,300 invoices, some of which were 4 or 5 pages. At minimum, this would have saved the company $1,600. Slowly but surely, I started to notice other tasks I could optimize or automate. For example, one frequent client would send us a similar batch of files with identical printing instructions each time. To go through each file and enter the correct settings would take upwards of 10 minutes, and you needed to be careful not to get anything wrong or it would mean reprinting. I wrote a hotkey which looked at the file name and used that to apply the correct print settings. Needless to say, this was more reliable and it let me fly through a batch of files in under 2 minutes. Eventually, I got it to the point where a single hotkey would download the email from the client along with all attachments onto a date-stamped folder on the network-attached storage. It would iterate through each file and print everything with the correct settings. Then, it would launch the accounting software and enter every file printed with the correct number of pages and file names. Finally, it would export the invoice and print a copy using the original shortcut I had written. I was now able to run entire orders, start to finish, in a quarter of the time it took me before I had written the hotkeys. The only problem was, I was the only one who used the hotkeys, so on days where I wasn't at the print shop, the other members of the production team would go back to doing everything manually. This brings us to lesson 3. You can use AutoHotkey to solve problems for yourself, but it's very difficult to write hotkeys for others. Most of the time, people get very attached to their workflows and are reluctant to change them, even if you give them a way which is more efficient. So as the saying goes, you can write a hotkey for a horse, but you can't make them use a hotkey. Their hooves tend to mash like 5 or 6 keys at a time. So, oh well. Even if I couldn't convince the others to use the hotkeys I wrote, I found plenty of other uses for AutoHotkey and my personal projects.